Thank you for coming to the junior production of The Tempest. Please silence your cell phones, no flash photography. There will be a 10-minute intermission. Enjoy the show.
Here, master, what's your?
Good, speak to the mariners. Fall to it yearly or we'll run ourselves aground. Stir, stir.
Hi, my heart. Cheerly, cheerly, my heart. Yard, yard, take in the topsail. Tend to the master's whistle. Blow till thou burst thy wind, if room enough.
Here. Where's the master? Play the men.
I pray now, keep below.
Where's the master, bosun?
Do not hear you are labor. Keep your captain to do assist the watch.
Nay, good, be patient.
When the sea is, and what cares you for? But the name of the king, the cabin is silent, trouble.
Good, yet remember whom thou hast aboard.
None that I love more than myself. You are a consul. You can command these elements to silence and work the peace of the present. We will not hand a rope more. Use your authority. You cannot give thanks you have lived so long. And make yourselves ready in your cabins for the mischance of the hour, if it so happen. Cheerly! Out of our way, I say.
I have great comfort from this fellow. Methinks he hath no drowning mark upon him.
Down with the topmast yard. Lower, lower. Bring it to try with the main force. Yet again, what do you hear? Shall we give over and drown? Have you a mind to sink?
A pox on your throat, you bawling, blasphemous, and charitable dog.
Work you then.
Hang, cur, hang, you hoarse and insolent noisemaker. We are less afraid to be drowned than thou art.
Lay her hold, a hold. Set her 2 courses off to sea again. Lay her off.
To prayers! All lost!
Must our mouths be cold?
The king and prince at prayers. Let's assist them for our cases as theirs.
I'm out of patience.
We are merely cheated of our lives by these drunkards. This wide-chapped rascal. Would thou mightest lie drowning the washing of 10 tides. Let's all sink with the king.
Let's take leave of him.
If by your art, my dearest mother, you have put these wild waters in this roar, allay them. The sky, it seems, would pour down stinking pitch, but the sea, mounting to the welkin's cheek, dashes the fire out. Oh, I have suffered with those that I saw suffer. A brave vessel who, no doubt some noble creature in her, dashed all to pieces. Oh, the cry did knock against my very heart. Poor souls, they perished. Had I been any god of power, I would have sunk the sea within the earth, or ere it should the good ship so have swallowed and the frauding souls within her.
Be collected, no more amazement. Tell your piteous heart there's no harm done.
Oh, woe the day.
No harm. I have done nothing but in care of thee, my dear one, thee, my daughter, who art ignorant of what thou art, not knowing of whence I am, nor that I am more better than Prospero, mistress of a full poor cell, and thy no greater mother.
More to know did never meddle with my thoughts.
'Tis time I should inform thee further. Wipe thou thine eyes, have comfort. The direful spectacle of the wreck, which touched the very virtue of compassion in thee, I have, with such provision in mine art, so safely ordered that there is no soul, no, not so much perdition as a hair betide to any creature in the vessel, which thou heardst cry, which thou sawest sink. Sit down, for thou must now know further.
You have often begun to tell me what I am, but stopped and left me to a bootless inquisition, concluding, stay, not yet.
The hour is now come, the very minute bids thee ope thine ear. Obey and be attentive. Canst thou remember a time before we came unto this cell? I do not think thou canst, for then thou wast not out 3 years old.
Certainly, madam, I can.
By what? By any other house or person? Of anything, the image tell me that hath kept with thy remembrance.
'Tis far off, and rather like a dream than an assurance that my remembrance warrants. Had I not 4 or 5 women that tended me?
Thou hadst and more, Miranda. But how is it that this lives in thy mind? What seest thou else in the dark backward and abysm of time? If thou rememberest aught ere thou camest here, how camest here thou mayest?
But that I do not.
12 years since, Miranda, 12 years since, thy mother was the Duchess of Milan and a princess of power.
Oh, the heavens! What foul play had we, that we came from thence? Or blessed was we did?
Both, my girl. By foul play, as thou sayest, were we heaved thence, but blessedly holp hither.
Oh, my heart bleeds to think of the teen that I have turned you to, which is from my remembrance. Please you, farther.
My brother and thy uncle, called Antonio, I pray thee mark me that a brother should be so perfidious. He whom next thyself of all the world I loved, and to him put the manage of my state, at that time being so reputed in dignity, and for the liberal arts without a parallel, these being all my study, the government I cast upon my brother, and to my state grew stranger, being transported and wrapped in secret study. Thy false uncle, dost thou attend me?
Madam, most heedfully.
Being once perfected how to grant suits, how to deny them, who to advance and who to trash for overtopping, new created the creatures that were mine, I say, or changed them, or else new formed them, having both the key of officer and office, set all hearts in the state to what tune pleased his ear, that now he was the ivy which had hid my princely trunk and sucked my verdure out in it. Thou attendest not.
Oh, good madam, I do.
I pray thee, mark me. I, thus neglecting worldly ends, all dedicated to closeness and the bettering of my mind, in my false brother awaked an evil nature, and my trust, like a good parent, did beget of him a falsehood in its contrary as great as my trust was, which indeed had no limit, a confidence sans bound. He being thus lorded did believe he was indeed the duke, out of the substitution and executing the outward face of royalty with such prerogative, hence his ambition growing. Dost thou hear?
Your tale, madam, would cure deafness.
To have no screen between this part he played and him he played it for, he needs will be absolute Milan. Me, poor woman, my library was dukedom large enough. Of temporal royalties he thinks me now incapable. Confederates, so dry he was for sway, with the king of Naples, to give him homage, do him annual tribute, subject his coronet to the crown, and bend the dukedom yet unbowed. Alas, poor Milan, to most ignoble stooping.
Oh, the heavens.
Mark his condition and the event, then tell me if this might be a brother.
I should sin to think but nobly of my grandmother. Good wombs have borne bad sons.
Now the condition. The king of Naples, being an enemy to me inveterate, hearkens my brother's suit, which was that he, in lieu of the premises of homage, and I know not how much tribute, should presently extirpate me and mine out of the dukedom, and confer fair Milan with all the honors upon my brother. Whereon a treacherous army levied, one midnight fated to the purpose did Antonio open the gates of Milan, and in the dead of darkness the ministers for the purpose hurried thence me and thy crying self.
Alack, for pity. I, not knowing how I cried out then, will cry it over again. It is a hint that rings mine eyes to it. Wherefore, did they not that hour destroy us?
Well demanded, my tale provokes that question. Dear they durst not, so dear the love my people bore me, nor set a mark so bloody on the business, but with colors fair painted their foul ends. In few, they hurried us aboard a bark, bore us some leagues to sea, where they prepared a rotten carcass of a boat, not rigged, nor tackle, sail, nor mast. The very rats instinctively had quit it. There they hoist us, to cry to the sea that roared to us, to sigh to the winds whose pity, sighing back again, did us but loving wrong.
Alack, what trouble was I then to you?
Oh, a cherubim that was, did it preserve me. Thou didst smile, infused with a fortitude from heaven, when I had decked the sea with drops full salt, under my burthen groaned, that raised up in me an undergoing stomach to bear up against what should ensue.
How came we ashore?
By providence divine. Some food we had, and some fresh water, that a noble Neapolitan, Gonzalo, out of his charity, being then appointed master of the design, did give us, with rich garments, linens, stuffs, and necessaries, which since have steaded much. So, out of his gentleness, knowing I loved my books, he furnished me from mine own library with volumes that I prize above my dukedom.
Would I might but ever see this man?
Sit still and hear the last of our sea sorrow. Here in this island we arrived, and here have I, thy schoolmistress, made thee more profit than other princesses can that have more time for vainer hours and tutors not so careful.
And heavens thank you for it. And now, I pray you, madam, for still 'tis beating in my mind, your reason for raising this sea storm?
Know thus far forth, by accident most strange, bountiful fortune, now my dear lady, hath mine enemies brought to this shore. And by my prescience I find my zenith doth depend upon a most auspicious star, whose influence if I now court not but omit, my fortunes will ever after droop. Here, cease more questions. Thou art inclined to sleep. I know thou canst not choose. Come away, servant, come. I am ready now. Approach my Ariel, come.
All hail, great mistress.
Grave madam, hail! I come to answer thy best pleasure. Be it to fly, to swim,
To dive into the fire,
to ride on the curled clouds, to thy strong bidding task Ariel and all her quality.
Hast thou, spirit, performed to point the tempest that I bade thee?
To every article, I boarded the king's ship, now on the beak,
now on the waist,
the deck, in every cabin.
I flamed amazement,
Sometime I divide,
and burn in many places.
on the topmast, the yards and the bowsprit,
Would I flame distinctly,
then meet and join. Jove's lightnings, the precursors, oh, the dreadful thunderclaps, more momentary and sight outrunning were not.
the fire and cracks of sulphurous roaring,
The most mighty Neptune seemed to besiege and make his bold waves tremble. Yea, his dread trident shake.
My brave spirit, who was so firm, so constant, that this coil would not infect his reason.
Not a soul but felt a fever of the mad and played some tricks of desperation. All but mariners plunged in the foaming brine and quit the vessel.
then all afire with me, the king's son Ferdinand, with hair upstaring.
Then like reeds, not hair, was the first man that leaped, cried, Hell is empty and all the devils are here!
Why, that's my spirit. But was not this nigh shore?
Close by, my mistress.
And are they, Ariel, safe?
Not a hair perished.
On their sustaining garments, not a blemish, but fresher than before. And as thou badest me, in troops I have dispersed them about the isle.
The king's son have I landed by himself.
Whom I left cooling of the air with sighs. In an odd angle of the isle, sitting his arms in this sad knot.
Of the king's ship, the mariners say how thou hast disposed, and all the rest of the fleet.
Safely in harbor is the king's ship, in the deep nook where once thou calledst me up at midnight to fetch dew from the still vexed Bermudes. There she's hid.
The mariners all under hatches stowed, who, with a charm joined to their suffered labor, have I left asleep.
And for the rest of the fleet which I dispersed, they have all met again and are upon the Mediterranean float, bound sadly home for Naples, supposing that they saw the king's ship wrecked and his great person perish.
Ariel, thy charge exactly is performed, but there's more work. What is the time of day?
Past the mid-season.
At least 2 glasses. The time twixt 6 and now must by us both be spent most preciously.
Is there more toil? Since thou dost give me pains,
Let me remember thee what thou hast promised.
which is not yet performed me.
How now, Moody? What is it thou canst demand?
My liberty.
Before the time be out, no more.
Pardon, mistress, remember I have done thee a worthy service.
Told thee no lies, made thee no mistaking, served without a grudge or grumblings.
Thou didst promise to bait me a full year.
Dost thou forget from what a torment I did free thee?
No.
Thou dost, and think'st it much to tread the ooze of the salt deep, to run upon the sharp wind of the north, to do me business in the veins of the earth when it is baked with frost.
I do not, madam.
Thou liest, malignant thing. Hast thou forgot the foul witch Sycorax, who with age and envy was grown into a hoop? Hast thou forgot her?
No, madam.
Where was she born? Speak, tell me.
Madam, in Argier.
Oh, was she so? I must once in a month recount what thou hast been, which thou forgetst. This damned witch Sycorax, for mischiefs manifold and sorceries terrible to enter human hearing, from Argier, thou knowest, was banished. For one thing she did, they would not take her life. Is not this true?
Aye, madam.
This blue-eyed hag was hither brought with child, and here was left by the sailors. Thou, my slave, as thou reportst thyself, was then her servant, and into a cloven pine, imprisoned thou didst painfully remain a dozen years. where thou didst vent thy groans as fast as mill wheels strike. Then was this island, save for the sun that she did litter here, a freckled whelp hag-born, not honored with a human shape.
Yes, Caliban her son.
Dull thing, I say so, that Caliban which now I keep in service. Thou best knowest what a torment I did find thee in. Thy groans did make wolves howl and penetrate the breasts of ever angry bears. It was mine art, when I arrived and heard thee, that made gape the pine and let thee out.
I thank thee, mistress.
If thou more murmurest, I will rend an oak and peg thee in his knotty entrails till thou hast howled away 12 winters.
Pardon, mistress.
I will be correspondent to command.
And do my spiriting gently.
Do so, and after 2 days I will discharge thee.
That's my noble mistress. What shall I do?
Say what?
What shall I do?
Go, make thyself like a nymph of the sea, be subject to no sight but thine and mine, invisible to every eyeball else. Go, take this shape, and hither come in it. Go, hence with diligence.
My lady, it shall be done.
Awake, dear heart, awake. Thou hast slept well, awake.
The strangeness of your story put heaviness in me.
Shake it off, come on. We'll visit Caliban, my slave, that never yields this kind answer.
'Tis a villain, madam, I do not love to look on.
But as 'tis, we cannot miss him. He does make our fire, fetch in our fuel, and serve in offices that profit us. What ho, slave, Caliban, thou earth thou, speak!
There's wood enough within.
Come forth, I say, there's other business for thee. Come, thou tortoise, when?
As what you do ere my mother brushed with raven's feather from an wholesome fen drop on you both, a southwest blow on ye and blister you all over.
For this be sure, tonight thou shalt have cramps, side stitches that shall pen thy breath up. Thou shalt be pinched as thick as honeycomb, each pinch more stinging than bees at Maidum.
I must eat my dinner.
Thou poisonous slave, got by the devil himself upon thy wicked dam, come forth.
This island is mine by Sycorax, my mother, which thou takest from me. When thou camest first, thou strokest me, and madest much of me. Wouldst give me water with berries in it, and teach me how to name the bigger light, and how the less, that burn by day and night. And I loved thee, and showed thee all the qualities of the isle, the fresh springs, the brine pits, the barren place, and the fertile. Cursed be that I did so! All the charms of Sycorax, toads, beetles, and bats light on you! For I am all the subjects which you have, which first were in mine own kin. And here you do sty me in this hard rock, whilst you do keep me from the rest of the island.
Thou most lying slave, whom stripes may move, not kindness. I have used thee, filth as thou art, with human care, and lodged thee in mine own cell, till thou didst seek to violate the honor of my child.
Would it had been done, I had peopled Elf's Isle with Calibans.
Abhorred slave, which any print of goodness wilt not take, being capable of all ill. I pitied thee, took pains to make thee speak, taught thee each hour one thing or other, when thou didst not, savage, know thine own meaning, but would gabble like a thing most brutish. I endowed thy purposes with words that made him known.
You taught me language, and my profit on it is I know how to curse. The red plague rid you for learning me your language.
Hagseed, hence! Fetch us in fuel, and be quick, thou art best, to answer other business. Shruggest thou malice? If thou neglect'st, or dost unwillingly what I'll command, I'll rack thee with old cramps, fill all thy bones with aches, make thee roar that beasts shall tremble at thy din.
No, I pray thee, I must obey. Her art is of such power, it would control my dam's god, Setebos, and make a vassal of him.
Come unto these yellow sands, and then take hands.
Curtsied when you have and kissed, the wild waves whist. Footed featly here and there, the sweet sprites and burthen bear. Hark, hark, hark.
Where should this music be? In the air of the earth it sounds no more. And sure, it waits upon some god of the island. Sitting on a bank, weeping again the king my father's wreck, this music crept by me upon the waters, allaying both their fury and my passion with its sweet air. And thence I have followed it, or it hath drawn me rather. But 'tis gone. No, it begins again.
Full fathom 5, thy father lies.
Of his bones are coral made. Those pearls that were his eyes.
Nothing of him that doth fade.
But doth suffer a sea change.
Into something rich and strange.
Sea nymphs hourly ring his knell.
This ditty does remember my drowned father. This is no mortal business, nor no sound that the earth owes. I hear it now above me.
The fringed curtains of thine eye advance, and say what thou seest yond.
What is it? Is it a spirit? Lord, how it looks about. Believe me, madam, it carries a brave form. But 'tis a spirit.
No, it eats and sleeps and hath such senses as we have. This gallant which thou seest was in the wreck, and but he's something stained with grief. He hath lost his fellows and strays about to find him.
I might call him a thing divine, for nothing natural I ever saw so noble.
It goes on, I see, as my soul prompts it. Spirit, fine spirit, I'll free thee within 2 days for this.
Most sure, the goddess on whom these airs attend. Vouchsafe my prayer may know if you remain on this island, and that you will some good instruction give on how I may bear me here. My prime request, which I do last pronounce, is, oh, you wonder if you be maid or no.
No wonder, sir, but certainly a maid.
My language, heavens. I am the best of them that speak this speech, were but I where 'tis spoken.
How the best? What wert thou if the king of Naples heard thee?
A single thing as I am now that wonders to hear thee speak of Naples. He does hear me, and that he does I weep. For myself am Naples, who with mine eyes, never since at ebb, beheld the king my father, wrecked.
Alack, for mercy.
Yes, faith and all his lords, the Duke of Milan and his brave son being twain.
At the first sight they have changed eyes. Delicate Ariel, I'll set thee free for this. A word, good sir. I fear you have done yourself some wrong. A word.
There's nothing ill can dwell in such a temple. For if the ill spirit have so fair a house, good things will strive to dwell within it.
Oh, if your affection's not gone forth, I'll make you queen of Naples.
Soft, sir. One word more. They are both in either's powers, but this swift business I must uneasy make, lest too light winning make the prize light. A word. I charge thee that thou attend me. Thou dost here usurp the name thou owest not, and hast put thyself upon this island as a spy, to win it from me, the lady on it.
No, as I'm a man.
There's nothing ill can dwell in such a temple. For if the ill spirit have so fair a house, good things will strive to dwell within it.
Come, follow. Speak not you for him, he's a traitor. Come, I'll manacle thy neck and feet together. Sea water shalt thou drink. Thy food shall be the fresh brook mussels, withered roots, and husks wherein the acorn cradled. Come.
No, I will resist such entertainment until mine enemy has more power.
Oh, dear mother, make not too rash a trial for him, for he's gentle and not fearful.
What I say, my foot, my tutor? Put thy sword up, traitor. I can here disarm thee with this stick and make thy weapon drop.
Beseech you, mother.
Hence, hang not on my garments.
Madam, have pity. I'll be his surety.
Silence! One word more shall make thee chide thee, if not hate thee. What, an advocate for this impostor? Hush, foolish wench, thou thinkest there is no more such shapes as he, having seen but him and Caliban. Foolish wench, to the most of men, this is a Caliban, and they to him are angels.
What? For my affections are most humble. I have no ambition to see a goodlier man.
Come on, obey. Thy nerves are in their infancy again, and hath no vigor in them.
So they are. My spirits as in a dream are all bound up. Might I but through my prison once a day behold this maid, then all corners else of the earth liberty make use of. Space enough have I in such a prison.
It works. Thou hast done well, fine Ariel. Come, follow. Hark what thou else shall do me.
Be of comfort. My mother's of a better nature than she appears by speech. This which came from her is unwanted.
Thou shalt be free as mountain winds, but then exactly do all points of my command. Come, follow. Speak not you for him.
Beseech you, sir, be merry, for you have cause, so have we all, of joy, for our escape is much greater than our loss. Our theme of woe is common, for every day some sailor's wife, the masters of some merchant, and the merchant have just our theme of woe. But for the miracle, I mean our preservation, few in millions can speak like us. Then wisely, good sir, weigh our sorrow with our comfort.
Prithee, peace. He receives comfort like cold porridge.
The visitor will not give him more so.
Look, he's winding up the watch of his wit. By and by it will strike.
Whenever grief's entertained that's offered, comes to the entertainer
$1.
Dollar comes to him indeed. You have spoken truer than you purposed.
You have taken it wiselier than I meant you should.
Therefore, my lord.
Fie, what a spendthrift is he of his tongue.
I prithee spare.
Well, I have done. But yet,
He will be talking.
Which of he or of Adrian, for a good wager, first begins to crow?
The old cock.
The cockerel.
Done. The wager?
A laughter.
A match.
Though this island seems to be desert,
But yet,
yet
He will be talking.
this needs be of subtle, tender and delicate temperance. The air breathes upon us here most sweetly.
as if it had lungs and rotten ones.
Or as 'twere perfumed by a fen.
here is everything advantageous to life.
True, save means to live.
Of that there's little or none.
How lush and lusty the grass looks, how green.
The ground indeed is tawny.
With an eye of green in it,
But the rarity of it is, which is indeed almost beyond credit,
as many vouch rarities are.
that our garments, being as they were drenched in the sea, hold notwithstanding their freshness and glosses, being rather new dyed than stained with salt water.
If but one of his pockets could speak, would it not say he lies?
Aye, or very falsely pocket up his report.
Methinks our garments are as fresh now as when we first put them on in Africa, at the marriage of the king's fair daughter Carabel to the king of Tunis.
Tunis was never graced before with such paragon to their queen.
Not since Widow Ditto's time.
Widow Ditto? A pox of that. Widow Dido.
And what if he had said widower Aeneas too? Good Lord, how you take it.
Widow Ditto, said you make me study of that. She was of Carthage, not of Tunis.
This Carthage, sir, was Tunis.
Carthage?
I assure you, Carthage.
His word is much more than the miraculous harp. He has raised the walls and houses too.
What impossible matter will he make easy next?
I think he will take this island home in his pocket and give it his son for an apple.
And sowing the kernels of it into the sea, bring forth more islands.
Sir, we were talking that our garments seem now as fresh as when we first put them on in Africa, at the marriage of your daughter, who is now queen.
And the rarest that e'er came there.
Is not, sir, my doublet as fresh as the day I wore at your daughter's marriage?
You crammed these words into mine ears against the stomach of my sense. Would I had never married my daughter there, for, coming thence, my son is lost, and, in my rage, she too, who is so far from Italy removed, that I never again shall see her. O thou, mine heir of Naples and Milan, what fish hath made its meal on thee?
Sir, you may live. I saw him beat the surges under him, and ride upon their backs. He trod the water whose enmity he flung aside, and breasted the surge most swollen that met him. His bold head above the contentious waves he kept, and oared himself with his good arms and lusty strokes to shore, that o'er his waveward and basest bowed, as stooping to relieve him. I not doubt he came alive to land.
No, he's gone.
Sir, you may thank yourself for this great loss. It would not bless our Europe with your daughter, but rather lose her to an African, where she at least is banished from your eye, who hath cause to wet the grief on it.
Prithee, peace.
You were kneeled to and importuned otherwise by us, and the fair soul herself weighed between loathness and obedience, at which end, the beam should bow. We have lost your son, I fear, forever. Milan and Naples have more widows in them of this business making than we bring men to comfort them. The fault's your own.
So is the dearest of the lost.
My lord Sebastian, the truth you speak doth lack some gentleness, and time to speak it in. You rub the sore when you should bring the plaster.
Very well.
And most urgently.
It is foul weather in us all, my good lord, when you are cloudy.
Foul weather?
Very foul.
Had I a plantation of this isle, my lord,
He'd sow it with nettle seed.
Or docks or mallows.
and were king on't, what would I do?
Escape being drunk for want of wine.
I' the commonwealth, I would, by contraries, govern all things. For no kind of traffic would I admit, no name of magistrate. Letters should not be known. Riches, poverty, the use of service, none. Contract, succession, born, bound of isle, till, or the need of any occupation, I would not have. All men idle, all, and women too, yet pure and innocent. No sovereignty.
Yet he would be king on it.
The latter end of his commonwealth forgets the beginning.
All things in common nature should produce without sweat or endeavor. Treason, felony, sword, pike, knife, gun, or the need of any engine would I not have. But nature should bring forth of its own kind all poison, all abundance to feed my innocent people.
No marrying among his subjects.
None, man, all idle.
I would with such perfection govern, sir, to excel the golden age.
God save his majesty.
Long live Gonzalo.
And do you mark me, sir?
I prithee spare, thou doest talk nothing to me.
I do well believe, your highness, and did it so as to administer occasion to these gentlemen, who have such sensible and nimble lungs, that they always used to laugh at nothing.
'Twas you we laughed at.
Who in this kind of merry fooling am nothing to you, that you may continue to laugh at nothing still.
Oh, what a blow was there given.
And it had not fallen flat long.
You are men of brave metal. You would lift the moon on her sphere if she were to continue in 5 weeks without changing.
We would, and then go a bat fouling.
Nay, good lord, be not angry.
Will you laugh me to sleep, for I am very heavy.
Go sleep, and hear us.
What, all so soon asleep? I wish mine eyes would with themselves shut up my thoughts. I find they are inclined to do so.
Please you, sir, do not omit the heavy offer of it. It seldom visits comfort. When it doth, it is a comforter.
Go sleep. We'll watch you as you sleep and guard your safety.
Thank you. Wondrous heavy.
What a strange drowsiness possesses him.
'Tis the quality of the climate.
Why? Doth it not then our eyelids sink? I find not myself disposed to sleep.
Nor I. My spirits are nimble. They fell together all as by consent. They dropped as like a thunderstroke. What might, O worthy Sebastian? What might, no more. Yet, methinks I see it in thy face. The occasion speaks thee, and my strong imagination sees a crown dropping upon thy head.
What? Art thou waking?
Do you not hear me speak?
I do, and surely it is a sleepy language, and thou speakest out of thy sleep. What is it thou didst say? That is a strange repose, to be asleep with eyes wide open, standing, speaking, moving, and yet so fast asleep.
Noble Sebastian, you let your fortune sleep, die rather, winkest while thou art waking.
Thou dost snore distinctly. There's meaning in thy snore.
I'm more serious in my custom. You must be so too. If heed me, wish to do, trembles the oar.
Well, I am standing water.
I'll teach you how to float.
Do so. To ebb, hereditary sloth instructs me.
Oh, if you but knew how you the purpose cherish, while stripping it you more invest it. Ebbing men do so often near the bottom run by their own fear, or sloth.
Prithee, say on. The setting of thine eye and cheek proclaim a matter indeed, and a birth indeed, which throws thee much to yield.
Thus, sir, although this lord of weak remembrance, this who shall be of little memory when he's earthed, hath here almost to persuade, for he's a spirit of persuasion, and professes only to persuade. His son's alive. 'Tis impossible that he's undrowned, as he that sleeps here swims.
I have no hope that he's undrowned.
Oh, out of that no hope, what a great hope have you? No hope that way is another way, so high a hope, that even ambition cannot pierce a wink beyond it, but doubt discovery there. Will you grant me that Ferdinand is dead?
He's gone.
Then tell me, who's the next heir of Naples?
Claribel.
She that is queen of Tunis? She that dwells 10 leagues beyond a man's life? She that from Naples can have no note unless the sun were post?
What stuff is this? How says you? 'Tis true my brother's daughter is queen of Tunis, so is she heir of Naples? Twixt which regions there is some space.
A space whose every cubit seems to cry out, how shall that Claribel measure us back to Naples? Stay in Tunis and let Sebastian wake. Say this were death that now hath season. There be no worse than now they are. There be that can rule Naples as well as he that sleeps here. Lords that can prate as amply and unnecessarily as this Gonzalo. Oh, you bore the mind that I do. What a sleep is this for your advancement? Do you understand me?
Methinks I do.
And how does your content tend to your own good fortune?
I remember, you did supplant your sister Prospero.
True, and look how well my garments sit upon me. Much feeder than before. My sister's men were once my fellows, now they are my servants.
But for your conscience?
Aye, where lies that? Twere a kibe, 'twould put me to my slipper. But I feel not this deity in my bosom. Here lies your brother, no better than the earth he lies upon. If he were that which now he's like, that's dead, whom I, with this obedient steel, 3 inches of it can lay to bed forever. Whiles you, doing thus, to perpetual wink may put for aye this ancient morsel, this Sir Prudence, for he should not upbraid our course. As for the rest of them, they'll take suggestion as a cat laps milk. They'll tell the clock to whatever business we say benefits the hour.
Prithee, say on. The setting up thine eye and cheek proclaim a matter indeed and birth indeed, which throws thee much to yield. Thy case, dear friend, shall be thy precedent. As thou take Milan, I'll come by Naples. Draw thy sword. One stroke shall free thee from the tribute which thou payest, and I, the king, shall love thee.
Draw together, and when I raise my hand, you do the same on Gonzalo.
Oh, but one word.
My mistress through her art foresees the danger that you, her friend, are in.
and sends me forth, for else her project dies.
To keep them living, while you here do snoring lie.
Open-eyed conspiracy.
His time doth take, if of life you keep a care. Shake off slumber and beware. Awake, awake, awake.
Then, let us both be sudden.
No, good angels, preserve the king.
Why? How now? Oh, awake. I wish mine eyes would with them. Oh, God. Wherefore this ghastly drawn?
What's the matter?
Whilst we stood here secure in your repose, even now we heard a hollow burst of bellowing, like bulls or even lions. Did it not wake you? It struck my ear most terribly.
I heard nothing.
Oh, 'twas a din to fright a monster's ear. It was the sound of a whole herd of lions.
Heard you this, Gonzalo?
Upon mine honor, sir, I heard a humming, and a strange one too, for it did awake me. As my eyes opened, I saw their weapons drawn. 'Tis best that we be on our guard, or that we quit this place. Let's draw our weapons.
Lead off this ground. Let's make further search for my poor son.
Hence, go away, he is among angels.
Lead away.
Prospero, my lady, shall know what I have done. So, king, go safely on to seek thy son.
All the infections that the sun sucks up from bogs, fens, and flats on Prospero fall and make her by inch meal a disease. Her spirits hear me, and yet I needs must curse for every trifle they are set on me, sometimes like apes that mow and chatter at me and after bite me, then like hedgehogs who like tumbling in my barefoot way and mount their pricks on my footfall. Sometimes I'm all wound with adders who with cloven tongues do hiss me into madness. Lo now, lo, here comes a spirit of hers, and to torment me for bringing in wood slowly. I'll fall flat. Perchance you will not mind me.
Here's neither bush nor shrub to bear up any weather at all. And another storm brewing. Yon same black cloud, yon huge one, looks like a foul bombard that would shed his liquor. Oh, if it should thunder as it did before, I know not where to hide my head. Yon same cloud cannot choose but fall by pailfuls. What have we here?
A man or a fish? Dead or alive?
He's a fish. Smells like a fish. Very ancient and fish-like smell.
Legs like a man? His fins like arms?
Warm, oh my God! I do now let loose my opinion and hold it no longer. This is no fish, but an islander that hath lately suffered by a thunderbolt. At last, the storm has come again. My best way is to creep under his gabardine. There's no other shelter hereabouts. Misery acquaints men with strange bedfellows. I will here shroud till the dregs of the storm hath passed.
I shall no more to see, here shall I die a sore. This is a very scurvy tune for a man's funeral. Well, here's my comfort. The master, the swabber, the bosun, and I, the gunner and his mate, loved Meg, Marion, and Marjorie, but none of us cared for Kate. For she had a tongue with a tang, would cry to a sailor, go hang. This is also a scurvy tune, but here's my comfort.
Do not torment me. Oh.
What's the matter? Do we have devils here? Do you play tricks and pawns with savages and men of Ind? I have not escaped drowning to be afeard now of your 4 legs.
The spirit torments me. Oh.
This is some monster of the isle with 4 legs, who hath got, as I take it, an AU. Where the devil should he learn our language? I will give him some relief if it be but for that. If I can tame him and recover him and bring him back to Naples with me, he's a fine present for any emperor that ever trod on neat's leather.
Do not torment me, prithee. I'll bring my wood home faster.
He's in his fit now and does not talk after the wisest. He shall taste of my bottle. If I can recover him and keep him tame, I shall not ask too much for him. He that hath him will pay for him, and that soundly.
Thou dost me yet but little hurt, thou wilt anon. I know it by thy trembling, for now Prospero works on thee.
Come on your ways, open your mouth. This is that which will give language to you, cat. This will shake your shaking. I can tell you, and that soundly, you cannot tell who your friends are. Come on, open your chaps again.
I should know that voice. It should be, but he is drowned, and these are devils. Oh, defend me.
4 legs and 2 voices! A most delicate monster! The forward voice is to speak well of his friend, while the backward voice is to utter foul speeches and detract. If all the wine in my bottle can recover him, I will help his ague. Come, amen, I will pour some in thy other mouth.
Stefano!
Mercy, mercy, doth thy other mouth call me? This is a devil and no monster. I will leave him.
Stefano, if thou beest Stefano, touch me and speak to me, for I am Trinculo. Be not afeard, thy good friend Trinculo.
If thou beest Trinculo, come forth. I will pull thee by thy lesser legs. If any be Trinculo's legs, these are they. Thou art very Trinculo indeed. How doth thou came to be the siege of this mooncalf? Can he vent Trinculos?
I took him to be killed by a thunderstroke. But art thou not drowned, Stefano? I hope thou art not drowned. Is the storm overblown? I hid me on the dead mooncalf's gabardine for fear of it. Art thou living, Stefano? Stefano, to Neapolitan escape!
If you do not turn me about, my stomach is not constant.
These be fine things if they not spirits. There's a God, and bears celestial liquor. I will kneel to him.
How didst thou escape? How camest thou hither? Swear by this bottle how thou camest hither. I escaped upon a butt of sack which the sailors heaved overboard. By this bottle.
I'll swear upon that bottle to be thy true subject, for the liquor is not earthly.
Here then, swear I'll then escape it.
Yeah. Swim ashore, man. I can swim like a duck. I'll be sworn.
Here, kiss the boat. Though thou canst swim like a duck, thou art made like a goose.
Oh, Stefano, hast any more of this?
The whole butt, man. The cellar is in a rock by the seaside where my wine is hid. How now, mooncalf, how's thine ague?
Hast thou not dropped from heaven?
Out of the moon, I do assure thee. I was the man in the moon when time was.
I have seen thee in her and do adore thee. My mistress showed me thee, and thy dog, and thy bush.
Come then, swear to that. Kiss the book. I will furnish it anon with new contents. Swear.
By this good light, this is a very shallow monster. I have feared him, a very weak monster. The man in the moon, a most credulous monster. I will show thee every fertile inch of the island. I will kiss thy foot. I prithee, be my God.
Come, kiss then. Down and swear.
By this light, this is the most perfidious monster. A drunken monster. When God's asleep, he'll rob his bottle. I'll show thee the best springs. I'll pluck thee berries. I'll fish for thee and get thee one enough. A plague upon the tyrant that is serf. I'll bear her no more sticks, but follow thee, thou wondrous man. I laugh myself to death at this puppy-headed monster. A scurvy monster. I prithee, let me bring thee where crabs grow, and I with long nails will dig thee pignets. I'll show thee a jay's nest, and instruct thee how to snare the nimble marmoset. Sometimes I'll bring thee to clustering filberts, and I'll get thee young scamels from the rock. Wilt thou go with me?
Prithee, lead the way without any more talking. Trinculo, the king and all else being drowned, we will inherit here. Come, fellow Trinculo, bear my bottle. We will furnish it anon with new contents.
Farewell, master, farewell, farewell. A howling monster, a drunken monster. No more damsel make for fish, nor fetching, firing, at requiring, nor escape quencher, nor wash dish. Confronting Caliban has a new master.
Oh, brave monster, lead the way.
There be some sports are painful, and their labor delight in them sets off some kinds of baseness, which are nobly undergone, and most poor matters point to rich ends. This my mean task, which would be to me as heaviest as odious, but the mistress which I serve quickens what's dead and makes my labors pleasures. Oh, she is 10 times more gentle than her mother's crabbed. She's composed of harshness. I must remove some thousands of logs and pile them up upon a sore injunction. My sweet mistress weeps when she sees me work, says that baseness had never a like executor. But I forget. These thoughts do even refresh my labors. Most busy lest when I do it.
Alas now, pray you. Work not so hard. It would the lightning have burnt up those logs that you are enjoyed to pile. Pray, set it down. When this burns, 'twill weep for having wearied you. Pray, set it down and rest yourself. My mother's hard at study. She's safe for these 3 hours.
Oh, most dear mistress, the sun will set before I shall discharge what I must strive to do.
If you'll sit down, I'll bear your logs the while. Pray, give me that. I'll carry it to the pile.
No, noble creature. I would rather crack my sinews and break my back than you should such dishonor undergo while I sit lazy by.
It would become me as well as it does you, and I should do it with much more ease. For my goodwill is to it, and yours it is against.
Poor worm, thou art infected. This visitation shows it.
You look wearily.
No, noble mistress. 'Tis fresh morning with me when you are by at night. I do beseech you, chiefly that I might set it in my prayers. What is your name?
Miranda. Oh, my mother, I have broke your hest to say so.
Admired Miranda. Indeed, the top of my admiration. Worth what's dearest to the world. Full many a lady have I eyed with the best regard, and many a time the harmony of their tongues hath into bondage brought my too diligent ear. For several virtues have I liked several women, but never any with so fun soul. But some defect in her did quarrel with the noblest grace which she owed, and put it to the foil. But you, oh you, so perfect and so peerless, you are created of every creature's best.
I do not know one of my sex. No woman's face remember, save from my glass mine own and my dear mother's. Nor do I know more that I may call men than you, good friend. How features are abroad, I am skilless of. But by my modesty, by the jewel in my dower, I do not wish any companion in the world but you. But I prattle something too wildly, and my mother's precepts I therein do forget.
I am in my condition a prince, Miranda. I do think a king, but I would not so. I would much rather endure this wooden slavery than some flesh fly blow my mouth. Hear my soul speak. From the very moment that I saw you, did my heart fly to your service, and there resides to make me slave to it. And for your sake am I this patient logman.
Do you love me?
O heaven, O earth, bear witness to this sound, and crown what I profess with kind event if I speak true, and if hollowly, invert what best has boded me to mischief. I do, above all else in the world, love, prize, and honor you.
I am a fool to weep at what I am glad of.
Fair encounter of two such rare affections. Heavens rain grace on that which breathes between them.
Wherefore weep you?
At mine unworthiness, that dare not offer, what I desire to give, and much less take, what I shall die to want. But this is trifling, and the more it seeks to hide itself, the bigger bulk it shows. Hence, bashful cunning, and prompt me, plain and holy innocence. I'll be your wife if you'll marry me. If not, I shall die your maid. To be your fellow, you may deny me, but I'll be your servant, whether you will or no.
My most dear mistress, and I thus humble ever.
My husband, then?
Aye, with a heart as willing as bondage are of freedom. Here's my hand.
And mine, with my whole heart in it. And now, farewell, till half an hour hence.
1,000,000.
So glad of this as they I cannot be, who are surprised withal, but my rejoicing at nothing can be more. All to my books, for yet ere supper time must I perform much business appertaining.
Tell not me, when the bud is out, we will drink water and not a drop before. Therefore, bear up and boredom, servant monster, drink to me.
Servant monster, the folly of this island. They say there's but 5 upon this isle. We are 3 of them. If the other 2 be brain like us, stay totters.
Drink, servant monster, when I bid thee. Thy eyes are almost set in thy head.
Where would they be set else? You were a brave monster indeed if they were set in his tail.
My man monster have drowned his tongue in sap. For my part, I swam ere I could recover the shore 35 leagues off and on. By this light, thou shalt be my lieutenant, servant monster, or my list.
Your lieutenant, if you list. Oh, standard?
Well, I run, monster.
Nor go neither, but lie like dogs, and yet say nothing neither.
Mooncalf, speak once and
How dost thy honor? Let me lick thy shoe. I'll not serve him. He's not valiant. Most ignorant monster? Well, that's how monsters lie. Being but half a fish and half a monster? Lo, how he mocks me, my lord. Wilt thou let him?
Trinculo, keep a good tongue in thy head. Prove a mutineer and the next tree. This poor monster is my subject, and he shall not suffer any indignity.
I thank my noble lord. Wilt thou be pleased hearken once again to the suit I made to thee?
Mary repeated, I shall stand, and so shall Trinculo.
Why? As I told thee before, I am subject to a tyrant, a sorceress that by her cunning hath cheated me of this island.
Thou liest!
Thou liest, thou jesting monkey, thou! I would my valiant master destroy thee. I do not lie.
Trinculo, trouble him in his tail one more time, and by this hand, I will supplant some of your teeth.
Why, I said nothing.
Then and no more. Proceed.
I say, by sorcery she got this isle. From me she got it. If thy greatness will revenge it on her, for I know thou darest, but this thing dare not.
Aye, that's most certain.
Thou shalt be lord of it, and I'll serve thee.
How now shall this be compassed? Canst thou bring me to the party?
Yea, yea, my lord, I'll yield her to thee asleep, where thou mayest knock a nail into her head.
Thou liest! Thou canst not!
What a pie ninny's this, thou scurvy patch! I do beseech thy greatness, give him blows and take his bottle from him. When that's gone, he'll drink naught but brine. For I'll not show him where the quick freshes are.
Trinculo, run into no further danger. Interrupt him one word further, and by this hand, I'll turn my mercy out of doors and make a stockfish of thee.
Why, what did I? I said nothing. I'll go farther off.
Didst thou not say he lied?
Thou liest.
Oh, do I so? Take thou that! Seeing as you like it, give me the lie another time.
I did not give the lie! Out of your wits and bearing to a pox on your bottle. This sack and drink can do. A murn on the monster and the devil take your fingers.
Prithee, carry on with your tale.
Beat him enough. After a little time, I'll beat him too.
Stand farther off. Proceed.
Well, as I told thee, 'tis a custom with her in the afternoon to sleep, where thou mayest brain her, having for seized her books, or with a log batter her skull, or potch her with his case, stake, or cut her weezer with thy knife. Remember first to possess her books, for without them she's but a sot, as I am, nor hath one spirit to command.
Monster, I will kill this woman and become king, save our grace, with Trinculo and thyself being viceroys. Dost thou like the plot, Trinculo?
Excellent.
Come, give me thy hand. I am sorry I beat thee. But while thou live, keep a good tongue in thy head.
Within this half hour she will be asleep. Wilt thou destroy her then?
Aye, on mine honor.
This will I tell my mistress.
Thou makest me merry. Let us be jocund. Will you troll the catch you taught me but erewhile?
At thy request, monster, I will do your reason. Any reason. Come, Trinculo, let us sing.
Flout 'em and scout 'em and scout 'em and flout 'em. Thought is free.
By our lake, and I can go no further, sir. My old bones ache. Here's a maze trodden deed through fortrights and meanders. By your patience, I needs must rest me.
Old Lord, I cannot blame thee who am myself attached with weariness to the dulling of my spirits. Sit down and rest. Even here I will put off my hope and keep it no longer for my flatterer. He is dead, whom thus we search to find, and the sea mocks our frustrate search on land. Well, let him go.
I'm right glad you still had a hope. Do not for one repulse forgo the purpose you promised to effect.
The next advantage will we take thoroughly.
Let it be tonight, for they are pressed to travel. They cannot nor will not use such vigilance as when they are fresh.
I say, tonight, no more.
What harmony is this? My good friends, hark.
Sweet, marvelous music.
Give us, kind keepers, heavens. What were these?
A living drollery. Now I will believe that they are unicorns, that in Arabia there is one phoenix standing at this hour, reigning there.
I'll believe both. And what does else want credit? Come to me. I'll be sworn 'tis true. Travelers ne'er did lie, though fools at home condemn them.
If in Naples I should report this now, would they believe me? If I should say I saw such islanders, for certes these were people of the island.
I cannot too much muse such shape, such sound, and such gesture, expressing, although they want the use of tongue, a kind of excellent dumb discourse.
They vanish strangely.
No matter, since they have left their viands behind, for we have stomachs, will it please you to taste of what is here?
Not I.
Faith, sir, you need not fear. When we were boys, who would believe there were such mountaineers? dewlap like bulls, whose throats had hanging about them wads of flesh, or that there were such men whose heads stood in their breasts, which now we find each putter off of 5 for 1, will bring us good warrant of.
I will stand to and feed, although my last, no matter, since I feel the best is past. Brother, my lord the Duke.
You are 3 men of sin, whom destiny that hath to instrument this lower world and what is in it. The never-surfeited sea has caused to belch up you, and on this island where man doth not inhabit, you amongst men being most unfit to live. I have made you mad, and even with such like valor men hang and drown their proper selves.
You fools, I and my fellows
are ministers of fate. The elements with whom your swords are tempered may as well wound the loud winds,
or the mock that stabs kill the still closing waters,
as diminish one dowel that's in my plume.
My fellow ministers are like invulnerable.
If you could hurt, your swords are now too massy for your strength and shall not be uplifted.
But remember, for that's my business to you,
that you 3 from Milan did supplant good Prospera,
exposed unto the sea which hath requited,
she and her innocent child,
for which the powers delaying not forgetting incense the seas and shores, yea, all the powers against your peace.
Thee of thy son Alonso they have bereft, and do pronounce by me,
lingering perdition, worse than any death could be at once, shall now step by step attend you and your ways.
Whose raz to guard you from, which here in this most desolate isle else falls upon your heads,
is nothing but heart sorrow,
and a clear life ensuing.
In the name of something holy, sir, what stands you in this strange stare?
Oh, it is monstrous, monstrous. Methought the billows spoke of it and told me, and the winds did sing of it, and the thunder, that deep and dreadful organ pipe, did base my trespass. Oh, that I were mudded in that oozy bed where my son now lies.
One fiend at a time, I'll fight them legions over.
I'll be thy second.
All 3 of them desperate, their great guilt, like poison given to work a great time after, now against the bite the spirit. I do beseech you, men of suppliant joints, follow them swiftly, and provoke him what his ecstasy might provoke them to.
Follow, I pray you.
If I have too austerely punished you, your compensation makes amends. For I have given you here 1/3 of mine own life, or that for which I live, who once again I tender to thy hand. All thy vexations were but my trials of thy love, and thou hast, strangely, stood the test. Here afore heaven I ratify this my rich gift. O Ferdinand, do not smile at me that I boast her off, for thou shalt find she will outstrip all praise and make it halt behind her.
I do believe it against an oracle.
Then is my gift and thine own acquisition worthily purchased. Take my daughter.
As I hope for quiet days, fair issue and long life with such love as 'tis now, the murkiest den, the most opportune place, the strongest suggestion shall never take away the edge of this day's celebration.
Fairly spoke. Sit then and talk with her. She is thine own. What, Ariel, my industrious servant, Ariel?
What would my potent mistress? Here I am.
Bravely the figure of this harpy hast thou performed, my Ariel. A grace it had, devouring. My high charms work, and mine enemies are all knit up in their distractions. They now are in my power. Thou and thy meaner fellows this last service did worthily perform. I must use you in such another trick. Go bring the rabble, o'er whom I give thee power, here to this place. Incite them to quick motion, for I must bestow upon the eyes of this young couple some vanity of mine art. It is my promise, and they expect it from me.
Presently?
Aye, with a twink.
Before you can say come and go,
each one tripping on his toe.
We'll be here with mop and mow.
Do you love me, mistress? No?
Dearly, my delicate Ariel.
I warrant you, madam.
No tongue. All eyes. Be silent.
Ceres, most bounteous lady, thy rich lees of wheat, rye, barley, vetches, oats, and peas, thy turfy mountains where live nibbling sheep, and flat meads thatched with stover them to keep, thy banks pied and twilled brims, which spongy April at thy hespe trims, to make cold nymphs chaste crowns, and thy broom groves,
whose shadow the dismissed bachelor loves. Being last lorn, thy pole-clipped vineyard and thy sea marge, sterile and rocky hard, where thou thyself dost air the queen of the sky, whose watery arch and messenger am I, bids thee leave these, and with thy sovereign grace, on this grassy plot, in this very place, to come and sport. Her peacocks fly amain. Approach, rich Ceres, her to entertain.
Hail, many-colored messenger, who ne'er dost disobey the wife of Jupiter, and who with thy saffron wings upon my flowers diffusest honey drops, refreshing showers, and with each end of thy blue bough dost crown my bosky acres and my unshrubed down. Approach, Ceres, to entertain.
A contract of true love to celebrate, and some donation freely to estate upon the blessed heart.
Earth's increase, poison plenty, barns and gardeners never empty, vines with clustering bunches growing, plants with goodly birth and bowing. Spring come to you at the farthest, in the very end of harvest. Scarcity and want shall shun you, Ceres' blessing is upon you.
This is a majestic vision, and harmoniously charmingly. May I be bold to think these spirits?
Spirits, which by mine art I have from their confines called to enact my present fancies.
May I live here ever. So rare a wondered mother and wife makes this place paradise.
You nymphs called naiads of the winding brooks, with your sedged crowns and ever harmless looks, leave your crisp channels.
Sweet now, silence! I had forgot that foul conspiracy of the beast Caliban and his confederates against my life. The very minute of their plot is almost come. Well done, avoid, no more.
This is strange. Your mother's in some passion that works her strongly.
Never till this day saw I her touch with anger so distempered.
You do look, my son, in a moved sort, as if you were dismayed. Be cheerful, sir. Our revels now are ended. These, our actors, as I foretold you, were all spirits, and are melted into air, into thin air. And like the baseless fabric of this vision, the cloud-capped towers, the gorgeous palaces, the solemn temples, the great globe itself, ye, all which it inherit, shall dissolve, and like this insubstantial pageant faded, leave not a rack behind. We are such stuff as dreams are made on, and our little life is rounded with a sleep. Sir, I am vexed. My brain is troubled. Bear with my weakness. Be not disturbed with my infirmity. If you be pleased, retire into my cell and there repose. A turn or two I'll walk to still my beating mind.
We wish your peace.
Come with a thought, I thank thee, Ariel, come!
Thy thoughts I cleave to. What's thy pleasure?
Spirit, we must prepare to meet with Caliban.
I, my commander, when I presented Ceres.
I thought you told me of it.
But I feared lest I might anger thee.
Say again, where didst thou leave these varlets?
Madam, they were red hot with drinking.
So full of valor that they smote the air for breathing of their faces, beat the ground for kissing of their feet, yet always bending towards their project. So then I beat my tabor, at which, like unbacked colts,
they advanced their eyes, pricked their ears,
lifted their noses as they smelt the music.
So I charmed their ears, that calf-like they my lowing followed through toothed briars, sharp furzes, pricking goss and thorn, which entered their frail shins.
At last I left them in the filthy mantled pool beyond your cell, there dancing up to their chins, that foul lake o'er stunk their feet.
This was well done, my bird. Thy shape invisible retain thou still. The trumpery in my house, go bring it hither, for stale to catch these thieves.
I go.
A devil, a born devil, on whose nature nurture can never stick, on whom my pains humanely taken, all lost, quite lost. And as with age his body uglier grows, so his mind cankers. I will plague them all, even to roaring. Come.
Pray you, tread softly, that the blind one may not hear a footfall. We are now near her cell.
Monster, your fairy, which you say is a harmless fairy, has done little better than play the jack with us.
Monster, I do smell all horse. Lick my nose in great indignation.
So is mine. Do you hear, monster? If I should take a displeasure against you, look you!
monster.
Good, my lord, give thy favor still, be patient. For prize I'll bring to thee shall hoodwink this mischance. Therefore speak softly. All's hush as midnight yet.
Aye, but to lose our bottles in the pool?
There is not only disgrace and dishonor in that monster, but an infinite loss.
That's more to me than my wedding. This is your harmless fairy monster.
Prithee, I'll go off and fetch my bottle, though I be warriors for my labor.
Good, my king, give thy favor still. Seest thou here? This is the mouth of the cell. No noise and enter. Do that good mischief which shall make this island thine forever. For I thy Caliban, for I thy footlicker.
Give me thy hand. I do begin to have bloody thoughts.
Oh, worthy Stefano. Oh, Pierre. Oh, King Stefano. Look. What a worthy wardrobe is here for thee.
Let it alone, the fool, it is but trash.
Oh, ho, monster, we know it belongs to a frippery. King Stefano.
Trinculo, put on that gown. By this hand, I'll have that gown.
Thy grace shall have it.
The dropsy drown this fool. What do you mean to dote thus in such luggage? Let's alone and do the murder first. If she awake from toe to crown, she'll fill her skins with pinches and make us strange stuff.
Be you quiet, monster. Mistress Line is not that my turkey.
Do. We steal by line and level. And like your grace?
I give thee a garment for that. I thank thee for thy jest. It shall not go unrewarded while I am king of this country. Steal by line and level is an excellent pass of pate. There's another garment for it.
Monster, come, put some line upon your fingers and away with the rest.
I shall have none of it. We shall all be turned to barnacles, or apes with our foreheads villainous low.
Monster, lay to your fingers, help to bear this away while my hog-sided wine is, or I'll turn you out of my kingdom. Go to, hear this.
And this.
I am this.
Hey, Mountain, hey!
Silver, there, go! Silver!
Fury, there, tyrant, there! Hark! Go, charge my goblins that they grind up their joints with dry convulsions, shorten up their sinews with aged cramps, and more pinch-spotted make them than pard or catamountain.
Hark, they roar!
Let them be hunted soundly. At this hour lie at my mercy all mine enemies. Shortly shall all my labors end, and thou shalt have the air at freedom. Say again, spirit, how fares the king and his followers?
Confined together.
In the same fashion as you gave it charge, just as you left them. All prisoners, madam.
In a line grove which weather fends your cell.
They cannot budge till your release. The king, his brother, and yours abide all three distracted, and the remainder mourning over them. Brimful of sorrow and dismay.
But chiefly him that you termed, madam, the good old Lord Gonzalo.
His tears run down his beard, like winter's drops from eaves of reeds. Your charms so strongly worksome, that if you now beheld them, your affections would become tender.
Dost thou think so, spirit?
Mine would, madam, were I human.
And mine shall. Hast thou, which art but air, a touch, a feeling of their afflictions? And shall not myself, one of their kind, that relish all as sharply passion as they, be kindlier moved than thou art? Though with their high wrongs I am struck to the quick, yet with my nobler reason 'gainst my fury do I take part. The nobler action is in virtue than in vengeance. They being penitent, the sole drift of my purpose doth extend not a frown further. Go release them, Ariel.
I'll fetch them.
My charms I'll break, their senses I'll restore, and they shall be themselves. Ye elves of hills, brooks, standing lakes and groves, and ye that on the sands with printless foot do chase the ebbing Neptune, and do fly him when he comes back. You demi-puppets that by moonshine do the green sour ringlets make, whereof the yew not bites. And you whose pastime is to make the midnight mushrooms, that rejoice to hear the solemn curfew. By whose aid, weak masters though ye be, I have bedimmed the noontide sun, called forth the mutinous winds, and twixt the green sea and the azured vault set roaring war. To the dread rattling thunder have I given fire, and rifted Jove's stout oak with his own bolts. The strong-based promontory have I made shake, and by spurs plucked up the pine and cedar. Graves at my command have waked their sleepers, oped and let 'em forth by my so potent art. But this rough magic I here abjure, and when I have required some heavenly music to work mine end upon their senses that this airy charm is for, I'll break my staff, bury it certain fathoms in the earth, and deeper than did ever plummet sound, I'll drown my book. A solemn air and the best comforter to an unsettled fancy cure thy brains, now useless, boiled in thy skull. There stand, for you are spell stopped. Holy Gonzalo, honorable man, mine eyes, even sociable to the show of thine, fall fellowly drops. The charm dissolves apace, and as the morning steals upon the night, melting the darkness, so their rising senses begin to chase the ignorant fumes that mantle their clear reason. O good Gonzalo, my true preserver and a loyal sir to him thou followest, I will pay thy graces home in word and deed. Most cruelly didst thou, Alonso, use me and my daughter. Thy brother was a further in the act. Thou art pinched for't now, Sebastian. Flesh and blood, you, brother mine, that entertained ambition, expelled remorse in nature, who with Sebastian, whose inward pinches are therefore most strong, would here have killed your king. I do forgive thee, unnatural though thou art. Their understanding begins to swell, and the approaching tide will shortly fill the reasonable shore that now lies foul and muddy. Not one of them that yet looks on me or would know me Ariel, I will discase me, and myself present as I was sometime Milan. Go quickly, spirit, thou shalt ere long be free.
Where the bee sucks, there suck I.
In the cowslip's bell I lie.
There I couch when owls do cry. On the bat's back I do fly.
After summer merrily.
Merrily, merrily shall I live now, under the blossom that hangs on the bough.
Why, that's my dainty Ariel. I shall miss thee. But yet thou shalt have freedom. So. To the king's ship, invisible as thou art, there shalt thou find the mariners asleep under the hatches. The master in the bosom being awake, enforce them to this place, and presently, I prithee.
I drink the air before me, and return, or ere your pulse twice beat.
All torment, trouble, wonder, and amazement inhabits here. Some heavenly being guide us from this fearful country.
Behold, Sir King, the wronged Duchess of Milan, Prospera. For more assurance that a living princess does now speak to thee, I embrace thy body, and to thee and thy company bid a hearty welcome.
Whether thou beest Prospera or some enchanted trifle to abuse me, as late I have been, I know not. Thy pulse beats as of flesh and blood, and the affliction of my mind amends with which a madness held me. If this be at all a most strange story, thy dukedom I do resign, and do entreat thee forgive me my wrongs. But how could Prospero be living and be here?
First, noble friend, let me embrace thine age, whose honor cannot be measured or confined.
Whether this be or not be, I'll not swear.
You do yet taste some subtleties of the isle that will not let you believe things certain. Welcome, my friends all. But you, my brace of lords, were I so minded, I could here pluck his highness's frown upon you and justify you traitors. At this time I will justify you. At this time I will tell no tales.
The devil speaks in her.
No, but for you, most wicked sir, whom to call brother would even infect my mouth. I do forgive thy rankest faults, all of them, and require my dukedom of thee, which, perforce, I know thou must restore.
If thou beest Prospera, give us particulars of thy preservation, how thou camest here, who 3 hours since was wrecked upon this shore, and how sharp the point of this remembrance is, where I have lost my dear son Ferdinand.
I am woe for it, sir.
Irreparable is the loss, and patience says it is past your cure.
I rather think you have not sought her help, of whose soft grace have I, for the like loss, her sovereign aid, and rest myself content.
You the like loss?
As great to me as late, and insupportable to make the dear loss, have I means much weaker than you may call to comfort you. For I have lost my daughter,
A daughter? Oh heavens, what I would give that they were living there, in Naples, a king and queen, and that I myself were mudded in that oozy bed where my son now lies. When did you lose your daughter?
In this last Tempest. I perceive these lords at this encounter do so much admire that they devour their reason and scarce think their eyes do offices of truth, their words are natural breath. But, howsoever you have been justled from your reason, know for certain that I am Prospera, and that very Duchess which was thrust forth the Milan, who most strangely upon this shore, where you were wrecked, was landed to be the lady on it. No more yet of this, for 'tis a chronicle of day by day, not a relation for a breakfast, nor befitting this first meeting. Welcome, sir. This cell's my court. Here have I few attendants and subjects none abroad. I pray you look in. My dukedom since you have given me again, let me requite you with as good a thing. At least bring forth a wonder to content ye as much as me my dukedom.
Sweet lord, plenty false.
No, my dearest love, I would not for the world.
Yes, for a score of kingdoms, and I should call it false play.
If this prove a vision of the island, one dear son shall I twice lose.
A most high miracle.
Though the seas threaten, they are merciful. I have cursed them without cause.
Now all the glad tidings of a father compass thee about. Arise and say how thou camest here.
Oh, wonder. How many goodly creatures there are here.
Who is this maid with whom thou wast at play? Your eldest acquaintance cannot be of 3 hours. Is this the goddess that has severed us and brought us thus together?
Sir, she is mortal, but by immortal providence she's mine. I chose her when I could not ask my father for his advice, nor thought I had one. She is daughter to this famous Duchess of Milan, of whom I have heard great renown, but never saw before, of whom I've received a second life, and this lady makes her a second mother to me.
I am hers, but oh, how oddly it will sound that I must ask my child forgiveness.
There, sir, stop. Let us not burden our remembrance with a heaviness that's gone.
I have inly wept, or should have spoke ere this. Look down, you God, and upon this couple drop of blessed crown, for 'twas you who chalked forth the way which brought us hither.
I say, Amen, Gonzalo.
Was Milan thrust from Milan, that his issue was to become king of Naples? Oh, rejoice beyond common joy, and set it down with gold on lasting pillars. For in one voyage did Carabel her husband find at Tunis, and Ferdinand her brother find a wife when he himself was lost. Prosper her dukedom in a poor island, and all of us ourselves when no man was his own.
Give me your hands. Let grief and sorrow embrace his heart that doth not wish you joy.
Be it so. Amen. Oh, look, sir, here is more of us. I prophesied if there were gallows on this land, this man could not drown. Now, blasphemy, that swears grace overboard, not an oath on shore. Hast thou no mouth by land? What is the news?
The best news is that we have safely found our cane company. The next, our ship, which but 3 glasses since we gave out split, is tight in yarn, bravely rigged as when we first put out to sea.
Madam, all this service have I done since I went.
My tricksy spirit.
The story strengthens from stranger to stranger. Say it, how came you hither?
If I did think, sir, I were well awake. I don't strive to tell you we were dead of sleep, and how we know not, all clapped under hatches, where but even now with strange and several noises of roaring, shrieking, howling, jingling chains, and more diversity of sounds, all horrible, we were awake, straight away at liberty, where we, in all her trim, freshly beheld our royal good and gallant ship, our master capering to eye her on a thrice, so please you, even in a dream, we were divided from them and were brought moping hither.
Was it well done?
Bravely, my diligence, thou shalt be free.
This is as strange a maze as e'er men trod on, and there is more business in this nature than it was ever conducted. Some oracle must rectify our knowledge.
Sir, my liege, do not infest your mind with beating on the strangeness of this business. Come hither, spirit. Set Caliban and his companions free. Untie the spell. How fares my gracious sir? There are yet missing of your company some few odd lads that you remember not.
Every man should rule the rest of the noblemen to care for himself. Roll the fortune, throughout you, across you!
The true spies to wear my head. This be a goodly sight. Oh, Satyrbus, these be brave spirits indeed. How fine my mistress is. I'm afraid she will chastise me.
Ha! What things are these, my lord Antonio? Will money buy them?
Very like. One of them is a plain fish, and no doubt marketable.
Mark but the badges of these men, my lords, then say if they be true. This misshapen knave, his mother was a witch, and one so strong that could control the moon, make flows and ebbs, and deal in her command without her power. These three have robbed me, and this demi-devil had plotted with them to take my life. These two fellows you must know and own. This thing of darkness I acknowledge mine.
I shall be pinched to death. Is this not Stefano, my drunken butler?
He is drunk. Where had he wine?
And Trinculo is reeling ripe. Where's the grand liquor that hath gilded him? How thou camest in this pickle?
I've been in such a pickle since I saw thee last that I fear me will never out of my bonds. I shall not fear the fly blowing.
Why, how now, Stefano?
Oh, touch me not, for I am not Stefano, but a crab.
You'd be king of the Isle, Sirrah?
I should have been a someone then.
This is as strange a thing as e'er I have looked on.
He is as disproportioned in his manner as in his shape. Go, Sirrah, as you look to have my pardon.
Aye, that I will. I'll be wise hereafter, and seek for grace.
Hence, and bestow your luggage where you found it.
Or stole it, rather.
Sir, I invite your highness and your train into my poor cell, where you will find your rest for this one night, which part of it I will spend with such discourse as, I not doubt, will make it go quick away. The story of my life and the accidents gone by since I came to this island. And in the morn I'll bring you to your ship, and thence to Naples, where I have hoped to see the nuptials of these our dear beloved solemnized. And thence retire me to my Milan, where every third thought should be my grave.
I long to hear the story of your life. It must take the ear most strangely.
I'll deliver all, and promise you calm seas, auspicious sails, and sails so expeditious that shall catch thy royal fleet far off. Pray you, draw near. My Ariel, chick! That is thy charge. Then to the elements be free, and fare thou well.